A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
At Kroger, we want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we're dedicated to doing up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies, checking for things like scarring. In fact, only the best produce like zesty oranges and crisp carrots reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards mean fresher produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everyone. And welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I'm your chunk.
I'm Doge, and no wife, no dog, no home. You have nothing, John. Chunk is all you have left.
And I'm Carter, and so I guess you have a choice. You want a war? You want to just give me a chunk? Once again, a surprisingly decent Keanu impression. I was
really good.
I was more terrified now than I had been last week because I was like, John Wick wouldn't cowered out of, the spotlight.
Trying Keanu
last week, you stepped into the Wick stream in a way that I was not prepared for. This week, I think I could feel the nerves on this one, but it still was a solid Keanu.
It's like a high dive where it's like the first time you do the big tall diving board, you're like, this is great. And then it's like a little more scary the second time or like cliff jumping.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's my J curve. Like I'm about to go back up. We'll stick with the John Wick.
The J curve. That's what our podcast should have been called, huh?
The J curve. There's almost infinite better names than what we're actually called.
I love what we're called. What I love our chunk. Well, we're all chunks today is what we're called. I'd say.
We are all chunks today, and I'd love to dissect that a little bit. Carter, do you want to break that down for us? Who is the hunk?
The hunk is the person in our chunky community, in our Discord, that is responsible for reaching out to Nick Reganis. Was not afraid to talk to God, and God responded. And that's Phil Hill, dude. The hunk today.
Yeah.
Phil Hill, short for Philium
Hill.
Got you. Got you first.
Phil Hill. Phil, in the same way that like a medieval dog would chase a medieval rabbit or fox or something, Phil Hill chased Nick Reganis' online presence all the way to Pinterest.
Stop. Everybody stop.
Yeah.
Why were they medieval?
Well, that's how
just a regular
hunted.
dog chase a regular rabbit?
No, dogs these days are so soft, dude.
Yeah,
real dogs haven't
forgot
existed
how to
since the
work.
Middle Ages.
No,
they haven't
dogs
existed
wanna
since
work.
the time of kings and lords. They don't work anymore. Phil chased Nick Reganis all the way to Pinterest, which I did not know until this week had a user-to-user messaging system, but apparently they do.
Unbelievable, dude. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
I thought Pinterest until this week was just various pictures of charcuterie boards.
And bathrooms.
I thought like once you're married, you don't have the app anymore. It's just to pin to decide what mason jars go on your table.
Wedding. Yeah. No, I know. I thought the same thing. But Nick's doing some real work out there.
Thanks, Phil.
Some super
also
cool
doing
stuff.
work.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Philium,
thanks, Nick.
You're the best. Appreciate you. Also, probably like a just as far as bulk goes, top 3 contributor to Discord. Phil is
big time.
Always up in there,
You
delivering some juicy opinions, delivering some reassurances when people are nervous about bad movies. Phil's on it, and he's got that optimism on lock, which I appreciate quite a bit. So thank you, Phil. Thank you, Nick. What are we talking about today, fellas? A movie, perhaps?
Let's do it.
Let's
Could
change
it be
it up.
a movie?
Let's do that this week.
Even? This week, I think we should talk about the sequel to what we talked about last week. Last week, we talked about John Wick. So this week, I think we should talk about a little movie known as John Wick Chapter 2. Doge, synopsify me, Captain.
You already know who it is.
It's
You already know who wrote this one.
Nicholas.
You already know who it is.
Bound by an inescapable blood debt to the Italian crime lord Santino d'Antonio, and with his precious 1969 Mustang still stolen, John Wick, the taciturn and pitiless assassin who thirsts for seclusion, is forced to visit Italy to honor his promise. But soon, the boogeyman will find himself dragged into an impossible task in the heart of Rome's secret criminal society, as every killer in the business dreams of cornering the legendary Wick, who now has an enormous price on his head. Drenched in blood and mercilessly hunted down, John Wick can surely forget a peaceful retirement, as no one can make it out in one piece.
I listen to Nick Regana's synopsises the same way that I listen to like a new track by my favorite artist.
Yeah, dude.
Like he says stuff and I react like the bass line just came in. I'm just like,
Ooh.
I got stank faced the whole time I'm
I
listening
want him
to a Nick
to,
Regana
like-
synopsis.
He needs to be the person that's coming up like in the 7-course meal before the meal hits the table, describing to you what you're about to eat.
Yeah.
Because he uses a lot of the same words. Drenched, soaked. Like
Drenched was good.
I needed it. It's
Yummy.
delicious.
He always says movies are so yummy, which is
Well, we
weird.
have
It's
for
a
you
weird word
today.
for movies,
It's
but
a
very yummy movie.
Scallop. Yeah.
I would recommend our steak. It is exceptionally yummy.
Paired with a yummy Pinot Noir, with a yummy Sangiovese from Tuscany.
A sommelier who describes everything as yummy is so funny to me.
This evening, we have an absolutely yummy Chardonnay to pair with our dessert. It's sort of a sweet, yummy wine with yummy dessert notes.
We'll end it with a yummy sea urchin sorbet.
These
Oh my
yummy
God.
grapes came straight from a vineyard in
Yummy
California where they grow the yummiest grapes.
From yummy Italy.
The chef has prepared a yummy lamb leg crusted with the yummiest pine nuts that you'll ever find. I'm sure that this meal will be equal parts yummy and yummy.
Do not pass on the yummy mint jelly. Mint jelly I've never had, and it conceptually I find it
God.
horrifying, but I would try it in a heartbeat.
There is somebody who finds the past 3 minutes of yummy sommelier conceptually horrifying as well. So we could move on from that if you
It's
like.
not one of us, so
like to.
I don't
would
ever
flesh it
want to
out
stop.
fully. Like I think it's a restaurant. I would love a restaurant that is just super fancy Michelin star restaurant, but it's just called like Nom Noms. And it's just always described like that.
This evening, our chef has prepared some yummy nuggets with a side of yummy curly fries and a house-made, absolutely delicious, yummy tomato-based sauce.
Tomato-based sauce.
Let's start talking about John Wick 2 because there's actually quite a bit to unpack here. Carter, let's start with just some brief. It's your first time. It's your first time to see this film.
Well, it kind of
Walk
leaked
me through
out at your birthday party, Jordan, shortly after I had only watched the first half of it because I just couldn't not
Yes.
watch it and was just spilling opinions already to Doge. And I apologize.
Where did you
for
stop
that.
it?
Oh, did you? You guys already talked about this?
Barely. I was just saying
A little bit. Where did you stop it? How much of it did you watch before we saw each
50
other?
minutes.
Oh, okay.
This was pre-Stairfall. Just before that.
Oh, you mean the Hot Rod Hill tumble?
We'll
Yep.
talk about that in a little bit, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, that was my super dump. That's ridiculous. That was too long.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Stair
Too
falling
long. It was
over
stood
and
out
over and again.
so much. And I can just make
Do you
that
know why
quick and simple.
it didn't bother me, which is weird? Because it was very clearly an actual stuntman doing it, so it didn't look fake. And so it's like, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody
Dang, that
actually
must have
thought it
hurt
was
John
just-
Wick, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Actually, you know what? Can I follow suit? Can I super dump right now? It's timely.
Whoa.
Is that okay with
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah.
My super dump is the first like 20, 25 minutes of this movie.
Okay.
Just because it has always, I think this is my third time to see this, and all three times the first 20 to 25 minutes are my least favorite part of the movie, just because it feels like they realized after John Wick Chapter 1 that they wanted to continue the story and had to spend 20 to 25 minutes unwrapping up the first movie.
Yeah.
So like, first movie ended with a bunch of bows tied, and then they had to start the movie by untying the bows real quick and being like, there's still more. There's still more. I don't fault it because it has to happen.
Yeah. It does seem like the first movie, like the logical sequel will be like a war against Uncle Tarasov.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But drinking to peace with Uncle Tarasov. Maybe that does feel weird. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That does seem weird.
It's a little, maybe redundant feels like the right word. It's like, okay, we know that this all wrapped up. Let's move to the next thing. And just all three times it's been my least favorite part.
Yeah. What just happened? I think I missed it.
I used my cough button to sneeze, but I think it was pretty violent looking. So it just looked like I sneezed into the void.
Silence. I can see that. I got offended initially when you said that the beginning is your least favorite part. But
I saw it was visceral.
So cars.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Even
car
in
fight always a 10.
Even in a court of law, in certain situations, like morbidly, like cars are considered weapons. Like cars can be considered a weapon. John Wick uses a car as a weapon.
Might as well be a sword.
Yes, in a very different way. I think one of the main things that I shared with Doge was like he gets his car back, and then he's like, well, I'm going to have to sacrifice the body of this car a bit and beat up these other cars. And then how relentless
All he wants is the card. That's why he doesn't care about what happens to the car. All he wants is the card from
and then
his
you
wife.
see that at the end, and I loved that. That was so
that is
wonderful.
great.
I'd forgotten that the card might be in there. But the moment when there's like, guy narrowly escapes getting crushed by John Wick's car by getting out of the roof of the car that is now exposed because the car had been beat up. And then he's limping along, and John just whips the car around to launch this man into a foundation of a warehouse.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Spectacularly cool. Yeah, I want to be very clear. The content of the first 20 minutes is not really my problem because it is cool and very fun to watch. It's really just more, I think 3 handles the continuation of the story a lot better than 2 does at the beginning just because, like I said, they wrote an ending. They tied all the bows. So in 2, they had to untie them to continue the story.
Yeah.
So I don't fault them for having to start the movie like this, but it is... Like if I were to rewatch this anytime soon, I would simply start 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's John Wick goes to Rome at the 45-minute mark of this 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So like to me, it's like the first 45 minutes is set up for about an hour 20 of action.
Yeah.
And it's some action. I'll say that.
It's action
It's
for
not like
sure,
there's
but
not
it's a long
action
setup.
in
It's a
the
long
first
setup.
45 minutes either. But
Sure.
yeah, I think I've decided that what makes a really good action movie for me, we've talked about all the pieces that just go into like enjoy a movie and getting lost in the screen when you kind of lose the peripheral of the outside world and you're in that world. For action to me, it is our main star insisting on doing most of their own stunts. Tom Cruise does this with everything, and it makes a big difference. To see Keanu, he's doing so many driving. I think that I saw something that was like 95% or more of the stunts are him. Basically everything but
oh, no way.
falling down that staircase is Keanu. And I just can't even, I love that. I love the commitment.
He has this Sasquatch Bigfoot way of running when he's in an action scene that is so ridiculous and silly that I believe that it's probably how somebody would actually do it. Do you know what I mean? It bypasses stupid and comes around to real somehow in my brain.
It's just totally unselfconscious.
Yeah, Fast and
It's
Furious.
so not cool.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious is a franchise full of face in car. Here's what I look like driving.
Yeah,
and it's
dude.
full of people overacting because I don't think they're actually doing these driving moves. And it's probably because there's so many pieces. There's so much involved. I'm not going to excuse it. I don't need to excuse it. But John Wick, like it's funny that I just called Keanu John Wick. I meant to say Keanu Reeves.
Depends.
Yeah, like you said, in a way, seeing his actual reactions to doing tough stuff. Like it's him focusing, like legitimately like trying to figure out how to pull this off. And I almost super pumped John Wick's efficiency. He is so very much making sure that you're dead.
He does a really good job.
He makes extra sure that you're dead.
Yeah.
And I love that. Nobody's going to come crawling back. Well, I don't want to set myself up or even look at y'all right now, but it's not like you missed, John. Like, I don't think he's going to have somebody come back that's like, should have done a little bit more to the left.
Common still has a knife in his heart. He's sitting next to it as well.
Still on the trade.
We don't have to get into it super big because when John Wick 4 comes out, we'll know if it's true or not. But I kind of have a theory that Common might return. I don't think he's dead. And I know that the description for is that a lot of people from John's past are involved. And so I'm thinking it could mean.
I'm thinking they're back.
Well, how great would it be if, we'll talk about my thoughts on Cashin and Common in just a little bit, but it would be cool for them to fight together.
Yeah. Is that too Fast and Furious?
I mean, isn't John Wick 3 just a team up movie too? You know what I mean? Like,
I have a confession for you. I haven't seen 3. Thought I had. Haven't seen it. Yep.
it might be my favorite one. Is that real?
Here we go.
You guys are in for a treat.
Jordan is
okay,
so
this is
excited.
Great.
It's
I
like,
just got
hey, dude,
stoked.
by the way, we moved Christmas to today.
Right. So I was actually just this is John Wick adjacent, I suppose, just as everything movie related could be. But I was just watching, I think it was just a TikTok or something, but it was somebody talking about the experience of, we've talked about this so many times, showing someone or knowing that somebody is going to experience something. I've gotten this so much over the last 6-7 weeks with The Last of Us, of knowing that there is an entire group of people experiencing a story that I love, that like lives in my bones, for the first time is almost better than watching it for the first time or experiencing it for the first time, because you get to be like, wasn't it though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yes, of course, if I find out that you two are going to get to watch John Wick 3 for the first time, that is exciting.
We definitely,
So yeah, I can't wait.
We have to get on the calendar as soon as we can, which will be in about a week. The
to go see 4 together.
All of us seeing 4 together. Like we have to see
sit
that
in the
in
same
theaters.
room. We got to sit.
Did you know Donnie Yen is the second highest billed actor?
Good.
Love Donnie Yen.
Quick suggestion.
Extremely excited.
John Wick 5. Get a couple of those boys from the raid over there. That would be the sickest thing I could possibly imagine. Please
very
and
cool.
thank you.
I was listening to a podcast.
Can I say
go
something?
ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off if this is adjacent to what
It
we're
is.
talking
I was
about.
listening to a podcast called With a Pencil, hosted by Shay Serrano. And they're just talking about loving John Wick.
like Shay.
And I can't listen to all of it yet. Cool. There's like 9 episodes. There's half of them they're actually talking through the movie and doing these fun little, quizzes and things like that. Sounds familiar. But they talk about how one of the things was, is this the best action series ever? And they measured it against Mission Impossible, Bourne series. They measured it against Raid. And when they talked about Raid, they were like, there's some scenes in the Raid franchise, that action-wise feel unbeatable.
Sure.
But they kept saying,
as a whole,
they kept saying John Wick pulls ahead of most of these things because of world building, because of the rules.
Early reviews are calling John Wick 4 the best action movie of the last decade.
Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, it's looking Top Gun Maverick in the eyes when it says that, bro.
I know.
In the eyes. Not even breaking a sweat. Are you kidding?
Wouldn't John Wick be the guy to not be afraid to look at Maverick and say, step down, brother?
We bring up Maverick, and I'm going to say this. This is what I was going to say earlier, and I know you guys are going to rake me over the coals for it. I'm going to say it anyway.
I'm already warming him up.
Keanu Reeves is my Tom Cruise.
I
think I choose Keanu. I think I choose Keanu over Tom because it's the same. They're doing the same thing.
I'm Porque no los dos over here, if I'm being honest.
I think Tom's a better actor.
For sure.
They're doing the same. They're doing the same thing.
Yes, they are.
They're real pilots and real planes, real G's, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The difference is that Keanu is a golden retriever in real life, like the kindest, reportedly the kindest person.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise is a high-ranking member of the cult. So I think that
Tom Cruise is an
Keanu
actual
gets
golden retriever
a
in
little
a human
ahead.
costume. Yeah. Have y'all seen how long John Wick Chapter 4 is?
No, I hope it's long.
2 hours,
3 hours,
49 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Give it to
Good.
me.
They keep getting longer. Carter,
it to
I
me.
want to ask how you felt, because your super dump last week for John Wick was that so much, it seemed like they left so much meat on the bone. So much was unexplained. We just got like this hint of the Assassin's Guild, this underworld. It wasn't fully explained. How do you feel about that now? I'm not asking you to say, aren't you stupid for last week? But like, did the world building work?
Yeah, and I
for
thought
you?
it would. It definitely did. I think when we start to see that more and more people's careers are built around navigating this landscape, the operatings, like the operators, like all that stuff, that was so cool.
Yeah,
There's just so much.
So cool, right?
And even to lead up to the point of like what's the head honcho's name? The guy who's over.
You talking about Winston, Ian McShane?
Winston? Yes. When Winston is
It's
like,
over
John,
the New York Continental.
John, like at the end, he's like, John, don't
Jonathan.
do this, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
And, yeah. So
First of
you
all,
have to know the
we
rules
didn't
for
really
that
talk
to
about
be
Ian
significant.
McShane much last
No,
week.
it's fine.
But Ian McShane rules.
Yeah, I've already seen. I'm not going to watch any more trailers for 4, but I have seen one. Obviously, I know he's in that, so he's like a through line for these kind of things, and I'm so glad, because what a great, like, silent,
Excellent cast for that
emotional
role.
leader for this, dude. Yeah, he's perfect for this.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
I'm not going to super pump world building just because I did last week and that's boring to do the same thing twice. But I
Right.
mean, it is still probably my favorite thing about this franchise. And it's exactly what you said, Carter. These like pinup, like 1950s pinup, working in an analog operator's room,
Yeah.
doing things with stamps and fax machines with actual like bonds for putting out a hit on somebody. The sommelier played by, I cannot remember this dude's name, but I love him in everything.
Oh, he's so good.
So funny, but he's also so good.
It was just
Peter Serafinowicz.
It was-
Oh, wow. I hope I didn't butcher
Oh,
that.
you got it. I promise. I know. I have no idea.
That sommelier scene is one of my favorites in the whole movie.
The whole thing
Yeah, it's really
of just
cool.
preparing him for the ball. Like, it was just like,
His suit.
yeah, and that's the actual tailor.
Taylor,
Oh, sorry,
Yep.
Josh.
that's the costume designer.
Actual
for the
costume
No,
movie.
it's
designer.
not. I love that.
Yeah, love it.
You know, and I love that they give you what they do in these scenes. They world build, but they also remove the obstacles you would have later that make you go, how did he survive that?
Can I super dump though?
Sure.
My super dump is the bulletproof suit jacket. It's undoubtedly cool, but it's a little too Batman. It doesn't 100% feel like the scene where he's in the catacombs under I guess where's it, the Colosseum? Where are they? I don't know. Under the Vatican, maybe? Who knows?
I don't know where they're
No
supposed
one.
to be, to be
Ancient
honest.
But the catacombs underneath, where like he rounds the corner, there's people with guns, and he like pulls up the side of his jacket
Get
like
out.
it's Batman's
No,
cape.
that is so
It's
sick.
cool. No, it's cool, but it breaks it a little bit for me. It's like this hasn't been that up to this point, and it's really not that again after this.
Sure.
But the like 100% fully bulletproof suit jacket is like, okay, this is like a little James Bond, a little Batman. This is not the grimy, dirty John Wick that Chapter 1 was. In that moment.
In that
to me,
moment, I would
that's
agree.
Yeah.
and it's a very small super dump.
I
but
respect
it
you.
did take me out of it.
And also continuing that respect, if John Wick stopped a grenade with his jacket, I wouldn't even hesitate. I would just be like, yep, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Super sick.
Yeah.
I want to point out how cool it is to me. He uses the guns in the exact order that he received them from the sommelier, down to the knife. The knife doesn't come out until the very end.
I can't remember
Like,
the last time they wanted to make sure to call back so many guns, and they did. Like delivering on,
Yeah.
it's almost like a Home Alone trap, right? It's like, hey, got to make sure you see this where the marbles go. It's where I put the nails.
Yeah.
Here's where the iron will swing down. You know,
Yep.
it's just like, but the payoff is just so good because there comes a moment. It's There's something about the audience knowing it's like, they're getting close to dessert. They're about to get blown up.
Yes.
You know, it's just like,
yes, dude.
Yeah.
yes.
Also, I realized during this scene, I don't think I know how shotguns work.
Well, that's a special boy, I think. That's an old 3-shooter.
The dessert-
it's like a
the
freaking Gears
tension.
of War gun.
Yes, it is.
The tension while he's reloading
Oh my God.
the dessert gun, and it just like the music stops and it's just the clock ticking and he's like putting the bullets back in.
Hey, there's
that's
a
my
shot
God.
in that scene when he gets startled by the person coming around the corner. The camera startles with him. And it's just really, the cinematography in this one is a whole step up from the last one. And the last one was cool. But the fight choreo, the cinematography, specifically the scene where, by the way, real quick, Santino D'Antonio is one of the best names of all time. But
It's a perfect name for this,
his
right?
sister, Gianna, when she stands naked in the tub after she has slit her wrists and she folds her arms and the blood is just falling down her body, that is one of the coolest shots ever.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a horrific scene to watch, but what a cool shot that
It's
is.
so, the whole movie is so like slick and stylized. We brought in a
is.
different cinematographer for this one. We're shooting it not on those 1970s Cook anamorphic lenses like we did last
Are we digital now?
last week. The last one was shot digital as well. But these are different lenses. They have a different coating to control some of the flaring. But we're doing the same thing again, putting a filter on the front of it to accentuate the flaring again. Just gave our DP a little more control over the image.
I think
But
it
looks
works
good.
for
It
me.
looks a lot slicker, a lot more polished than John Wick.
Which I think John Wick 1 should have that sort of 70s grunge feel, but 2 and especially 3 are just like
Polished franchisey.
slicker than oil, dude. It is clean and stylized from here on out.
Fun.
Yep.
Fun.
In
On
a
the
really cool way.
I find myself excited to see John reload his guns because there is
He always
something
does it
that
so
is
cool.
like, there is a fun realism in the midst of everything that's so unrealistic.
Yeah.
That is clearly, this is when it's like, oh, a stunt coordinator, a stunt man is the director. It's like
Right.
knowing
Yep.
it was just so cool. I watched him reload that shotgun again because he does a load too, one-handed. At one time, he reloads
Where
one
he's
of his
got it,
guns
like, propped
one-handed.
up against that guy's chest.
Yeah, or when he's him
Yeah.
and Common are fighting, and it's a knife fight, but he's trying to grab his gun, he keeps missing because Common is like holding his hand out.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so good. Keanu
So
put in the work, man.
This movie,
The simple subversion to me of the like, here's your gun. You have 7 bullets for $7 million. And like thinking like, okay, he's going to make these 7 count. And then it's immediately like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and throws the gun away.
Yep.
That's incredible.
which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about Larry because I don't know that I've seen anybody have this much fun in a movie in a long time. Lawrence
Right.
Fishburne seems
Right.
like he is. I mean, the dude is chomping scenery.
Yeah, he's basically Morpheus again.
It's so
yeah,
good.
that's a little bit like, I don't know, man. I love Lawrence Fishburne in this role. And I think he clearly enjoys it. And it's
Eating
very
it up.
cool to see him and Keanu again. But at the same time, there's a reason that Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones haven't been in anything together since Star Wars. Because if they're together on screen, the only thing you're thinking about is Star Wars. When Morpheus and Neo are together on screen, I'm just like, oh yeah, they were in the Matrix together. They're friends. And I am not watching John Wick. I'm just watching 2 old friends hang out.
get this man a gun. He was
Yeah,
just
I'm going to
over the top.
respectfully fully disagree
Yeah.
with you. Lawrence Fishburne is so fun in this movie. And I think him and Reeves being connected outside adds to the flavor. For me personally, I love every second Lawrence Fishburne's on screen in this movie. He's so good. This movie has, I don't want to solidify because I haven't seen 3 since theaters, so I can't fully commit to this, but I know for a fact at least 2 of my favorite John Wick fight scenes are in 3. I think maybe 3 of them, but 2 of my favorite John Wick fight scenes are in this.
I don't think your list is clear to anyone, and I love that. But like, how many? It's like of 20.
I'm saying of top 5.
Oh, okay, top 5. Sorry, I missed that. Okay.
Last week I said that 1 doesn't even have any fight scenes in the top 5 of John Wick for me. And just breaking down top 5, I think 2 of them come from this and 3 come from John Wick 3. But the 2 scenes, the sewer, the catacombs escape is just heart pounding.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrifying.
The common, specifically the subway fight, is really good. But I think the top two for me are Catacombs and then just the mirror maze at the end of this movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Visually
with the staircase.
Stunning.
There's so many parts of that were so fun. There's a section of it that felt a bit like one of my favorite movies of all time, Phantom Menace. I don't know if y'all have seen that one. Where the things keep closing out.
Hey,
opening.
fun fact, our sommelier is the voice of Darth Maul in that movie.
Oh.
What? Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The two lines. He's just grunting.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge. Yeah, that's him.
Fun.
I had no idea.
Yep.
That's cool.
I didn't either.
The other thing that's cool is making money. Let's go do a little bit of that. Shout announcements time. Welcome to Shout Announcements. It's the part of the show where we give shout outs and also we do make announcements. Carter's going to sit this one out probably because he's pooping.
Probably permanently, actually. I think our big announcement is that Carter's done. He's finished podcasting.
Just because of the poop. It's going to be that.
Because of the poop.
It's going to be that bad, I think.
It's going to be one of those ones where he comes back and he can't look us in the eye. He doesn't necessarily want his friends to know what's been going on in there, but we'll know.
This one's got some real moms away energy, I think, this shout announcements. It's gonna have,
we can finally play.
We've never really defined that, but for sure Carter's the mom, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Because I love him.
Because I love him. I celebrate him every year in May.
Next week, we are talking about John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, the only movie in this franchise to have a subtitle, which is interesting, an interesting choice. But we're talking about John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Next week, you probably already figured that out, though.
It's cool that they were able to get in touch with Lady Parabellum and let them put their name in the title of this.
It's just Lady P now, dude.
Lady P, yeah. I arrived at a crossroads in a wood with many different routes that I could walk down for that joke, and I, myself, chose to take none of them. Forge my own path instead with no jokes about Lady P. We are also, speaking of the third installment of various action series, we are going to be reviewing. I don't even like calling it reviewing. I've said we're talking about Creed 3 over on our Patreon feed. So if you're not a part of that, get a part of that. It's going to be vital if you want to hear us talk about Creed 3, the new installment of the Creed franchise, directed this time by Michael B. Jordan.
So,
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
You're not on this one.
Sorry, Carter.
You said you didn't want to do it.
Nope.
I'll tell you about it after.
You're pooping. You're pooping in perpetuity.
I saw an art.
Oh.
Saw an article that Jonathan Majors was only 5% body fat.
That's interesting because I'm only 5% body muscle. So I guess together we make a full
I started
human.
laughing simultaneously because I knew what the joke was. 5%. He said, yeah, about now I'm like 5% body fat. That's literally like the healthiest you possibly can be.
Yeah.
I just saw a TikTok where him and Michael B. Jordan were talking about their cheat day blowouts and basically just like egging each other on with like, oh, what about this? Oh, that does sound good. Oh, what about that? Yeah, no, that sounds
Jonathan Majors
great.
is like, I'm going to eat a whole pepperoni pizza and a 20-piece McNugget from McDonald's.
Yep.
Like, that's your cheat day, Jonathan? That's Friday.
Have y'all seen the also TikTok of, well, there's this trend where people will show their like mothers or grandmothers current heartthrobs and have them rate them 1 through 10 just to show like the taste difference between generations kind of a thing. You know, like a lot of times they'll show them like a Chalamet and they're like, no, he's too little.
boy.
I don't
He's
like
a boy.
him. You know, that kind of thing. I just saw one where this girl showed her grandmother Jonathan Majors and she was just like, oh, wow. 20 out of 10. And then she showed him another picture and she was like, oh, that's going to be a 12 out of 10. Good grief. And then she showed him one with him and a dog and she was like, the dog makes it 21. He can come to dinner anytime he wants. And I agree is what I'm saying. He's a perfect
Dude, I
specimen.
love Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. And I love his interviews because he seems so jolly.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Just like
I finally saw
dude.
the clip of
Seems
the
so
Homeward
fun.
Bound thing.
Yeah,
He's really sweet.
Yep.
Man, we're in such a good season right now because Pedro Pascal is in all these media junkets too. Him and Jonathan Majors are both just doing all the work this year, and they're both genuinely, everyone says, amazing. Somebody said, who was it? Someone working with Pedro Pascal said that he reminded her of a warm bath.
That's very nice.
Just so nice. Anyways,
back to the show, I suppose.
Am I super pumped to kick us back into John Wick gear?
Sure.
The pencil.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
pencil.
The pencil with the brains on it. Dude, unbelievable. Like the fight choreography of the pencil scene is unbelievable. That to me felt like some real The Raid energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life, but super
Yeah, you
cool.
can't look away.
Yeah.
Can't look away.
Right.
Yeah. My
Right.
soup,
You're just like, the whole time it's
the
happening.
world building, like when we just literally add that, hey man, there's so many assassins in proximity and I want to know all their stories. My world building is titled, my super pump is titled When We Call the Street Fighters to Kill John Wick. Like they took the cast of Street Fighter, the video game, and made them assassins.
Yeah.
We got a big sumo guy that took
a big
many
dude.
stabs.
Yep.
Many head stabs to even
And
die.
many guns.
Nine bullets.
Bullet.
9 bullets.
Wow.
But the way that we shot
John
that
Wick
scene
climbed him like a boulder and just shot down.
Yep.
too. Yeah. It was that
Jeez.
entire scene was phenomenal. Phenomenal, dude. It probably ends after we have the fountain like regress and we see that Common's on the other side of the fountain and they can see each other. Like them just shooting.
You don't like the Common fight that happens?
Well,
after
I'm trying
the
to decide how long is
fountain?
that scene for me. Because it's turning into the rest of the movie, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm stopping it somewhere.
My super pump is the last.
But when they
hour
have their
58 of this
silencers and they're
movie.
just shooting, they're just kind of like side eyes shooting at each other amidst all these civilians.
I know that the internet's like, that's not how silencers work. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care.
The internet. Oof.
Don't care. It's awesome. It's stupid and ridiculous. I'm gonna continue the snowball of the super pump, if I may, just because I'm having fun talking about the coolest things. My super pump's Common, dude.
He's great.
Yeah, Common's really cool.
He is just the perfect foil to John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
They're both just so. It starts at their meeting, right after he's killed the sister. And she's like, "You working?" Afraid so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
Good night.
good night. Afraid so.
Ooh.
And then
This is his top credit on IMDb.
Common.
Commons. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he wasn't he the voice of, was it Green Lantern in Justice League, or was it rumored that he was going to play Green Lantern at some point?
It was rumored that he was going to play Jon Stewart for a while.
Would have been awesome. Yeah,
Would've been great.
I just think specifically the train fight, but just every interaction with John Wick and Cash-In
Great name.
is intense.
Yeah. Dude, how was Common never in a Fast and Furious?
I'm
That
glad.
feels
I'm
like
glad he
that-
wasn't. He's better here.
Yeah. I don't know. That feels like
Yeah.
that would have been something Common would have said yes to, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
I guess you got to be
Unless
a
you're
touch
just
silly.
going for an Oscar, why would you not?
You got to be a
Yeah.
bit more cartoony, maybe.
Yeah. That's
I don't know.
true.
Would you? Do you? Because Vin is taking everything serious.
But he's a cartoon.
He's an unintentional cartoon.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
I think everybody else, like, you cannot tell me Michelle Rodriguez doesn't know exactly.
Can I tell you what I'm most excited about in Fast 10?
I agree.
It seems very clearly.
Sure. In the middle of our John
Sorry,
Wick 2
it
episodes.
seems
let's talk
very
about Fast
clearly-
10.
Let's pretend this is the first time Fast and Furious has spilled over into something else.
It seems very clearly that they're just letting Momoa go out there and do what he wants. I think we don't have the reins
Yep.
like we did for Cena. I think Jason Momoa is going to
I
be
sure hope not.
Because he looks ridiculous and vendetta-y. Anyways, sorry.
In retrospect,
It's pronounced Vin
9 is
Diesel.
probably the most disappointing entry in the whole series to me. Not because it's the worst,
Yeah.
because I still think that 3 is probably the worst, but 9 just seems the least aware of what
think 2
it's
is the
supposed to
worst.
be to me.
Yeah.
2's pretty bad as well.
2's awful.
I think Too Fast, Too Furious is much worse than Tokyo Drift.
I don't know, dude. Tokyo Drift, Lucas Black is
Tokyo
just-
Drift gives it Sean. Look at Sean.
I hate Sean.
I love Sean.
Lucas Black is horrible. Quite possibly the worst actor in the entire series, and that is saying something.
Yeah.
We at least get Tyrese from 2, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, come on. But yeah, I
True.
just think
I forget
that,
where everybody comes from in this franchise.
I know. So do they. I just think that
What
Common
order did
is,
Vin catch all his Pokemon friends?
Yeah, ultimately it doesn't matter because we're just building towards the Elite Four, I suppose. But yeah, man, the train scene specifically, but just everything with Common in it. Every time he's on screen, I am glued to the screen. And since I'm disqualifying world building from my super pump, he is unequivocally the next best thing in this movie to me.
Yeah, this was the first time that I felt worried for John.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately. It's like, oh, shoot. Like, they feel peers most of the time.
Yep.
Like, the threat, like, I love that they crash through a window and they're like, yo, you can't kill each other. You can't even fight right now.
I know,
And they just go to the bar and they
that's
remember
so
each other's drink. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that is so good,
amazing.
man.
But John
I love
still...
the other Continentals too, by the way.
Yes.
I think that is so fun.
Yeah.
John still carries this, like, all right, kid, to like almost anyone that he talks to. I love that he is still the boogeyman. He's like, cool, whatever you say, man. I'll let you say what you want.
When Cashin's like, I'll make it quick, and John's like, I'll try.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
That is very, very good. Can we talk about the flash in the pan that was Ruby Rose?
100% forgot that Ruby Rose existed on this planet that I share until this movie.
You mean
I
like
think-
in the world, like in her career, flash in the pan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that got, some of that's out of her control because her whole thing that she was supposed to be doing with like Batwoman or something for her got completely shut down before it could start.
I don't blame her, to be honest.
Oh,
with
no,
you.
I didn't
think
think so.
that
No,
especially
she got-
in stuff like this,
She got
she's
fired from Batwoman because she wasn't good in it.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
I don't know that dramatic acting. I've never seen her do any dramatic acting, but I don't know that that's her forte. I think
This is her forte.
I think being sort of like a femme fatale, scary, like almost like specter that just shows up to punch, kick, and shoot. She's perfect for this.
Yeah.
She would be a great Fast and Furious edition while we're talking about it, you know?
Yes.
Like she would be
Yeah.
ideal for that series. Because I don't know, I've never seen anything that makes me think that she's not aware of that skill set. I think that
No, I think she knows what she is.
I don't know, maybe she has some skeletons that I don't know about and that's why she's not getting work. I don't know anything about her, but I think she does a good job in stuff like this where she's just sort of like henchman, but an A-tier henchman.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know. I think she really works here for me.
Yeah. I love
But
that
I just have forgotten that she existed.
the continual revelation that John just knows all languages. So down for that.
Even sign language? Yeah.
What is it? Mary Sue?
Yeah.
John's sort of like the scariest. He's Scary Sue.
Scary Sue.
Very good.
He is.
Very good.
There's not a skill set
he-
we have encountered that he does not possess.
Yeah.
Because he can't fail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
But in this
I don't know
context,
how to
I'm
bring it
not.
up. I don't know how to bring it up organically. I just want to say here on public record that the scene where Ian McShane reveals that every single person who's in the park right now is an assassin that's after John, and he's the only reason John is safe, is just extremely cool.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to say about it other than, wow, that's really
It's
cool.
terrifying.
Well, and so something they have done really well for this, since you guys haven't seen 3, the escalation doesn't dip down so that the movie can rise. It's a straight line up. So like 3 starts and is basically like everybody on the planet is trying to kill John Wick. Begin. Cool. I think 3 starts like basically concurrently with this movie, if I remember correctly. So we don't get the same untie our loose ends or untie our unloose ends. We don't get any of that stuff. It's just a continued escalation. And because that starts here in that way with Winston ordering everybody to stop and leave because John deserves an hour.
Wow.
So good.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And another example of how powerful Winston is.
Yeah, right. They're close enough that like that's probably the biggest gift he could have given him was an hour because there's no way that he's not going to follow the rules. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Doesn't it feel like Alfred Molina would be a really cool addition to this world? I feel like Alfred Molina.
Can't you just say that about anything, though?
Well, sure, but
Alfred
I'm thinking
Molina
like
belongs in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I think he could also do the Winston type role or some sort of leader, like that kind of thing. I feel like Alfred Molina would be a cool choice for that.
100. Couldn't agree more. I think
maybe it's just because I'm trying to get every Spider-Man villain in this franchise, and we've already got Willem Dafoe in the first one. So, who do you think Topher Grace should play in the next John Wick?
But honestly, isn't that the beauty of John Wick? Is they could bring anybody in and find the right spot for them, and you'd be like, yeah,
Feels
they
like
fit,
they
because
could.
this is a weird place.
Yeah. It feels like
Topher Grace is one of Morpheus's pigeons.
Oh my goodness. I love it. He's just got an oversized letter around his
Think
ankle.
before you speak.
This is the moment, John Wick Chapter 2, especially the end, the cliffhanger of him just like getting ready to run for his life. Was so glad that I hadn't seen any of them yet, because I get to just turn on Chapter 3 soon, because I can't imagine being in the theater and just watching him run away. And you're like, obviously, I think even out in the media at that point, like we knew there were going to be John Wick movies, like X amount more after.
But you don't know how long you have to wait.
Don't know how long you have to wait, and he's just on his way out. So good.
Yep.
Such a strong finish.
Woo.
I genuinely can't wait for Chapter 3. Once again, I find myself wanting to just start next week's movie right now, even though I'll forget
as soon as we finish the
over
recording.
the next 7 days. But it's just, I started to. Callie has brought up a couple of times. She's like, "You guys ever going to stop doing action movies, or like,
nope?
You ever going to do anything that's
we
not
need to.
action movie? We definitely need to, but
we should do something else.
Whenever we do,
We'll take a big turn soon.
action movies like this, the thing that I always get stuck on that I love is like, much like every genre of movies, but action is so broad and so different. It just doesn't feel like we are just watching people get punched and it's all blurring together. When they're good, they have their own unique flavor that makes them really different and really stand out. And the thing that brings the most flavor here, we've already talked about, it's Keanu.
Yeah,
huge. He couldn't commit any harder to this, I don't think.
No. And I could see him at 70, I could see a 70-year-old John Wick, like still getting after it. I feel like he could.
Training the next generation.
Yeah, or just being around.
Sure.
I don't know if there should be John Wick after Keanu is not the lead, though, to be honest.
Sure.
Justin Long can play like his son or something, you know?
I still stand by that almost no prequel should happen. The rule is usually pretty solid that most prequels aren't great.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do it because he would be younger, but I would kill to see his Impossible Task. I really would.
Video game, dude. It's got to be a video game. That's the best way to do that.
I just disagree 100% with you. I just think
that'd be cool.
I just think that the entire audience gets cut in a quarter. I mean, think about who mostly
who could do
to
it?
his dads who are not going to play it.
I think Adam Driver could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That would be so sick. Get Adam Driver in these movies somehow. How about that?
Yeah.
He looks enough like Keanu.
It's his nephew, Don.
Don Wick.
Ron
Wick.
It's Ron Wick.
People been asking if this is my nephew, Ronald. I'm thinking it's my nephew, Ronald.
Harrison just catches the bug after Dial of Destiny comes back as Han Wick.
Oh my goodness. What a stupid conversation. Nothing makes me happier. It's time to rate John Wick Chapter 2. I suppose we have to be done talking about how cool this movie is. John Rick?
Sean Wick.
Sean Wick.
Sorry.
Sean Wick is nothing.
No, it's actually not.
But I want to be there. Let's rate this time using the scientific cinema scale, which is perfect, and as follows. The best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it. Buy that poster. The next best thing is buy it. That's followed by rent it, and then stream it. After that is forget it, and last but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie
God hath forsaken us.
I'll go first.
Oh, okay.
I buy the pencil. I buy the pencil for John Wick Chapter 2. I think something that was so special. I think in an action movie, it's tough to see yourself as that person because there's so many things happening that you're like, I cannot possibly, right? But the moment that John Wick goes ahead and shoots our main antagonist in the Continental, I wanted him to. I felt the fury. I was like, nah, dude, don't even listen to him. Freaking just do it. Do it. And then
blast him.
I too felt the regret afterwards, especially when knowing I've only got an hour. And my heart rate was just like clearly not what John's is. I think his stays as a cool, like between 60 and 75 his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But to be so immersed in the world of an action movie like that is really fun. And it's because there's a world. Like there is so much more to it. James Bond can touch on it sometimes, but there's so many moving parts. Things change so often and we have so many restarts. But so far, John Wick has just had this really clean through line that's been an absolute joy. So I buy the poster.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a poster. It's a poster for the boy as well. It's John Wick. Like, you've listened to the podcast before, right? You know that I like this kind of thing. Of course I'm buying the poster. This is not a surprise.
Yeah, fair. I'm buying John Wick Chapter 2 for much the same reason that I only bought John Wick 1. And it's just because I have the sweet, sweet gift of knowing where we're headed.
You're trying to prioritize wall space.
Yeah, genuinely.
For these posters.
Genuinely. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that 4 will probably end up being a poster. I cannot wait to find out.
2's poster is really cool.
It's got Donnie Yen, so obviously 2 does
all
have
the
a cool
posters.
poster.
They are cool. Which one is it? 3 with like all the guns pointed at him?
Yeah.
It's not clearly the one on IMDb. But
John Wick, Lady Antebellum.
It's funny, we made that exact same joke while you were doing your dark business.
Oh, no.
It's true. It's true. Man, I was just scrolling through the IMDb pictures looking for that poster of John Wick Chapter 3. I am stoked out of my mind to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Woo.
Hey, before we go, you should check us out on Fan Theory Queries. We were on a few episodes of their show with them, and those are coming out this week, I believe, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if you don't have enough pod boys in your life, lucky for you, there's a surplus on the podcast marketplace. We had a great time recording with Fan Theory Queries. I got to talk about dinosaurs. Jordan got to talk about Ben Stiller. Carter got to talk about Macaulay Culkin. So all of our 3 favorite things.
All of our passions.
All of our passions.
So yeah, check that out. Check that out. It was a great time. Next week, obviously, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Get in there. It's going to be a good time. Also, if you didn't listen to Shout Announcements, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, later this month, we have Creed 3 coming to our Patreon feed.
Wow.
So if you're not part of that, what are you doing? Get in there. We got all kinds of good stuff waiting for you, including a second tier with Discord where you can chat directly with us, play Box Office Ball, and find out things like Nick Reganis contacting us earlier than anyone else. So get in there. Go on. Right now. I'm genuinely going to wait for you to do it before we end the episode. Go ahead. Okay, I'm being told by producers we actually don't have time.
We're not ending the episode until we get 5 more members in our Discord.
Waiting for 5 more. Waiting for 5. We got 1. Waiting for 4. To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our names and what cell phone we would get our assassination request on. Because none of those people had modern phones. So for 2 chunks and a hunk.
You don't want Steve Apple knowing exactly who you're going to kill later, right?
If I had a nickel for every time I said that exact sentence. My name, it's 2 chunks. My name's Jordan, and I would have a Nokia Sidekick.
Yeah.
That would be my assassin phone.
That's great.
So that I can double thumb text real quick, flip that screen up. And my text tone when I get it, because it's an older phone, so you get all those custom text tones. My text tone would be, my wife.
Oh my gosh.
My wife
I'm Doge, and I would receive my kill instructions on a Motorola Razr.
Ooh.
And whenever I showed up with gun in hand to do my deed, I would say, "Hello, Moto," and then kill them.
Do you guys remember the chocolate?
Yeah, I remember the chocolate.
Phones used to be so ugly.
They really did. How wild is it that pretty much everybody has the same phone, or at least the same shaped phone now? And it was totally lawless Wild West for like a decade.
It really, really was.
My phone's a circle. Really? Interesting.
Oh, man.
Can I? I'm
and
Carter.
Phones kept going smaller, and now they're going bigger. What's up with that?
What's the deal?
That's like Jerry the Prospector. Oh,
What's the deal with cell phones?
I'm Carter, and can I have a pager?
Yeah.
Can I be paged?
I hardly know her.
I love that. I think just people, there's an absolute fear if I'm looking near my hip. They're like, oh my God, I need to get out.
Don't want to catch your
we're
hand
just
where
chilling.
your hip be at.
We're
because
just
of your
outside the
pager.
Continental. You see me looking at my hip, you go inside. You're like, is it for me? I don't remember what I did.
We didn't talk about this. I hate how often we remember cool things to talk about as the episode's ending and people are probably turning us off. But we didn't even talk about how they addressed a question I had in the first one, which is, if somebody was trying to kill you, couldn't you just go stay at the Continental in perpetuity if you had enough money?
That's why you got to be so hard on the guys that break that rule. You can't do this. Yeah, because that's a safe place. Freaking broke it.
Not for D'Antonio, it's not.
No, he deserved it.
Blast. Yeah, he did. I'm glad. I'm glad it happened.
I'm happy he's dead, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
See you next week.